Okay, so we're going to look at a little bit at noodling around in G, and I've done some PDFs, and I'm not going to go big into some lead guitar lesson here, but what I'm going to do is just show you enough to accompany the PDFs that I'm being sending out to my students. Example 1 is going to show you. Okay, 5, 3, 5, 3, 4, 2, open. Okay, first string 5 and 3, second string 5 and 3, third string 4, 2, and open. Did I get that right? 5, 3, 5, 3, 4, 2, open. Okay, and that's what you're going to see in little blue dots on the PDF that I've sent you. Now, that's just a fairly random collection of notes, really. You can pick any collection of notes, and this is really the point with this. But I'm just going to show you this first example. And the scale that I'm using here is, it's not really a proper scale in as much as it's kind of E minor and it's kind of G pentatonic, but it's actually just something that I found I use quite a lot because it works. There's a couple of notes missing from the E minor pentatonic, E minor or the G pentatonic. I can't even say it. Don't get too hung up on it. This is just something I found that works a lot of the time, and so I'm just kind of sharing it over. Really, I've deliberately missed a few notes out. I'm going to send you a PDF which has all red dots on it. And in some cases, like on the 9th and 12th frets, I've missed off D, G and A and what have you. The reason I've done that is I'm trying to minimise it rather than put loads of stuff on it. It's actually ended up with more notes than I had originally intended, but I'm kind of fairly happy with where that is. It's not too much to learn, but it's certainly enough to keep you busy for a while. Anyway, let's get back to example 1, which is going to be the blue dots on one of the sheets. I think I've done 4 examples actually, so we're just going to look at the first one here now. 5, 3, 5, 3, 4, 2, open. Okay, so what do I do? Now I know what notes to play, what do I do? Well, the idea is just to say to play not too many, and I'm going to start off by showing you just these 4. And the idea, I think, I suppose one of the reasons I'm making this video is there's a tendency for people who are learning guitar to want to fly up and down, and they feel like they need knowledge to master the neck, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a singer, guitarist, you haven't necessarily got time to be spending doing loads and loads of scales. And so that's why I'm making this, really, to keep it really simple, so that if you're recording one of your songs and you just need a little bit of lead in the background, or if you're just going to a jam session and you just want to get away with something fundamental, that's what I'm trying to offer here. So I'm not saying it's better or worse than anything else, I'm just saying this might help you out. It's relatively simple and it's relatively effective. I'm sure people are going to have all sorts of opinions on that, but, you know, it's okay, it works, okay? So, chord of G, chord of E minor, you can see how it kind of fits in with either of those, and of course it will fit in. You can see it fits in with all the chords in the scale of in the key of G, for example, or E minor, for that matter. Okay, so this is going to really work if you're in G. This is what you're going to use this for most of the time. Okay, now let's get back to these 4 notes. The idea is, instead of having loads of neck to fly around, I want you to practice and consider the idea that your lead guitar can be very restrictive. So we're deliberately choosing less notes and seeing what we can do without it. Do with that. Okay. So, for example, 3 notes. I'm now barring hammering. So it depends on the technique I'm using. Pull-offs. Bit of vibrato. Double notes. Or. So I'm looking for any combination and any way I can play these 4 notes. And a lot of it, what you find is you haven't got anywhere to go. Well, the good news is you're not trying to go anywhere. And where it becomes a problem is people start to get less creative than they might be. So, for example, we might just say, okay, well, what else can I do? Double string, sliding, hammering, all those sorts of things which you'd have to look at in another video. This is more about where to go, okay? So, and I think the secret is, for me, is to... it's not too clean, but... The point I'm trying to make is it's the rhythm. It's not the notes. See what I'm getting at? I'm not doing the best examples in the world, but I'm just making it up as I go along. And that's really the point. I'm making it up as I go along. And depending on the nature of the song, if it was a reggae song or a blues song, I might... you know, I might, depending on what was going on, I would develop it a little bit, okay? So that's the 4 notes, and as I say, I just want you to think of... think of different rhythms, different patterns. Or, let's just think of really something really simple. Or, you see what I mean? So, given time, and I haven't rehearsed anything for this video at all. I'm literally just making it up on the spur of the moment. And you know, might go, yeah, it sounds like it, Dave, but that's okay, you know, because given a bit of time, I would work something else out. And what I would probably want to do, once I've got something going on, I might start to bring in other notes, okay? So I've just brought in the open note, but let's just keep with your blue notes on this diagram. So let's bring in the 4 and the 2 and the open on the 3rd string. Sliding. Now, what you've got to be careful here is you don't get your fingers crossed over. So if you do it with your first finger, and then you want to go back to this other note here, for example, it's going to get messy. So using your second finger, if you want to slide up, and then onto your 2nd string. And that's starting to sound a bit better from a lead point of view. So, oops, added another note there. All the other notes are on the PDFs, by the way. So I'm just really trying to make the point of practice with one of your songs. You know, just see if that fits. Yeah, or see how I'm just adding a little something in there. It depends what's going on, okay? It's an unusual video, it's an unusual approach. It's a singer-songwriter's I'm not going to say it's a cheat exactly, but it's a... If you want to spend your time writing lyrics, spend your time singing, spend your time playing the guitar, this is something which, as I say, is hopefully going to get you out of trouble a little bit. And the sheet that I've given you covers all manner of things. It does go right up to the 12th fret. I've tried to keep it relatively simple. There's another one... We show some notes up there. Oh, maybe we'll do that on another video. And again, I've shown that as a little group of blue notes. There's another one you could do. You know, and so on and so forth. So you can play around with it. You can do some double string stuff with it, just using the first 2 strings, for example. So, as I say, it's an unusual video when it comes to lead guitar. There's another one. The open and second string, the 2nd fret, sorry, on 5, 4 and 3. Doesn't sound great on its own, but you know, you can kind of tie it in, and that's really the point, really. In an ideal world, I'd probably do a little series of these videos with some backing tracks, and so I could put it to better use and show you how it works. But for what it is worth, I can assure you, most of the time, I'll use this. And it's really, really simple compared to most lead guitar lessons. I mean, I've got this down to what, 10-minute video, 11-minute, 12-minute, I don't know, something like that. And it's going to actually, believe it or not, give you, as long as you can do hammers and pulls and you're familiar with sliding, it's going to get you a long way. If you don't believe me, try it. Record some songs, anything you're doing in G. Try it in other keys as well, because you'll be surprised how it fits quite well with other keys as well. I quite often use a lot of these notes in D or E minor, or yeah, that's probably all I use, actually, thinking about it. But anyway, yeah, give it a go. I just thought it'd be a good idea to share something which is relatively simple, relatively effective, and will get you out of trouble quite a lot. Okay, so good luck, enjoy.